Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today, we're going to tackle a distinction that's honestly absolutely critical in any regulated industry, but it causes so much confusion. We're talking about the difference between a deviation and an out-of-specification result, or OOS. And look, getting this right isn't just about using the right jargon, it's about launching the right investigation and making sure quality and compliance are locked in. So let's just get right to it. Deviation versus OOS. I mean, on the surface, they kind of sound the same, right? Something just went wrong. And yeah, that's true. But how it went wrong, and crucially, when we find out about it, that changes absolutely everything. This mix-up happens all the time, but trust me, getting it wrong can send you down a completely wrong path with some pretty serious consequences. Okay, let's dive in. To really get the difference, we got to put each of these terms under the microscope first. Let's build a clear profile for both before we pit them against each other. All right, first up, deviation. The easiest way to think about this is it's a procedural mistake. Simple as that. It's an unplanned thing that happens when someone doesn't follow the approved instructions. We've got this great baking analogy here. Imagine you're making a cake and you totally forget to add the eggs. Oops, you just deviated from the recipe. The mistake happened during the process. That's the key word you got to remember here, process. Okay, now for the other side of the coin. Out of specification, or OOS for short. Now, this one has nothing to do with the process itself. It's all about the final result. So you've run a test on your finished product, and whoops, the result is outside the quality standards you already set. Let's go back to our cake. You finish baking it, you do your official taste test, and it's salty instead of sweet. The final product failed. See the difference? The failure is in the result. All right, so we've got our definitions down. Now for the main event. Let's put them side by side, because this is where it all just clicks into place. Okay, look at this. This slide is everything. Let's break it down. A deviation, that's all about the process or the procedure. But an OOS, nope, that's about the final result or the test. And when do you find them? You'll spot a deviation during the activity as it's happening. An OOS, though, you only find that out after a test is totally done. And this is the big one. What do they trigger? A deviation kicks off an investigation focused on the process, like why didn't we follow the steps? An OOS, on the other hand, launches a formal lab investigation to figure out if the test result itself is even right. So why are we spending all this time on two little acronyms? Why is this so critical? Well, because as we just saw, knowing the difference isn't just for, passing a test. It literally determines your entire response. If you call something by the wrong name, you're sending the wrong team to investigate the wrong thing. You're wasting time, you're wasting money, and you could be completely missing the real root cause. Just think about it. You're at a fork in the road. If it's a deviation, your path is clear. You document the procedural mistake, you figure out what impact it had on the product, and you implement a corrective action to fix the process itself. Maybe it's better training, maybe the instructions need to be clearer, but if it's an OOS, whoa, totally different road. First thing to do is quarantine the entire batch. It goes nowhere. Then you start a deep dive lab investigation. Was the equipment okay? Was the sample contaminated? Was the analyst trained? You can see how getting that initial call wrong sends everyone scrambling down a completely pointless path. So if you walk away with just one thing from this explainer, let it be this simple idea. A deviation is about doing it wrong. An OOS is about the result being wrong. One is about the journey, the other is all about the destination. Simple as that. And that kind of brings us to our final question for you. Now that you have this framework in your head, think about your own work. Which one of these have you seen more often? And more importantly, looking back on it now, were they handled the right way? It's a really interesting question to think about, and it just shows you how vital this seemingly small distinction really is. Thanks for watching.